Jurassic World Dominion has marketed itself as the ultimate culmination of the entire Jurassic Park series, with the promise of extensive screen time from characters like Alan Grant, Ellie Sattler, Ian Malcolm, and even Lewis Dodson. It's kind of obvious to see why. However, the tease of a certain dinosaur island that hasn't been seen in 20 years is also something to note. When Colin Trevorrow and co released this image of an embryo box with the infamous words Isla Sorna and Site B printed clearly on the front, this opened up a lot of discussion as to whether or not we would be seeing the island again in some way, shape, or form. And today I wanted to discuss the island and its current standing in full. Because if we take this set photo to heart, then truly, in some sort of capacity, Isla Sorna will at the very least be mentioned in Jurassic World Dominion. Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Now, to really jump into this topic with clarity, I think we need to clear something up about Site B at the beginning. So, it's been floated around by several people over the last 3 years that Site B actually hasn't been mentioned at all in any Jurassic World era stories whatsoever, and to put it in a very matter-of-fact sort of way, this is not objectively true. Now, the references to the island in Jurassic World are somewhat subtle, and you'd have to be a super fan, and I mean a really big super fan, to really pick up on them at all, but when it comes down to Fallen Kingdom, the island is actually spoken about by name on screen, and its current status is implied as being vastly different from what we last saw it as, due to the BBC News reporter stating that, quote, an extinction-level event will kill off the last living dinosaurs on the planet. And this is said when she's referring to Mount Sibo's eruption in Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. Back when the movie came out, I actually got a chance to speak with two people who helped work on the viral marketing campaign and extended lore for the films, and they told me point blank that originally the idea was to have Site B mentioned in the movie in a small news ticker at the bottom of the BBC screen. And when they were tasked with actually making the websites that would promote the film, they were given total control as to explaining what exactly went down on the island and why people believe that the last living dinosaurs were only living on Nublar. Now, of course, in the final cut, this was kind of changed with Eli Mills saying Isla Sorna verbally in Fallen Kingdom, as well as them taking that little news ticker part out. But during that same interview I did, they revealed that the decision to make Site B somewhat mysterious and barren was done by going back to Michael Crichton's work on the Lost World book.
So obviously we go back to the source, to like Michael Crichton, and like in the second book he talks about like behavioral extinction. So like, and we're like, okay, and then I went back through the Jurassic Park 3 promotional material, watched a lot of making of for that, to learn about the Spinosaurus, and they were talking about, Jack Horner was very adamant that this Spinosaurus was designed to be a dinosaur that could cause an extinction on the island.
Oh yeah.
And they even had trailers where like the voiceover guy was like, an experiment abandoned and all that. So we were like, okay, so here we have an opportunity to introduce the origin of the Spinosaurus, but also, as Tim just mentioned, like we don't completely close the book on things like that. So like, obviously, if the filmmakers ever want to go back to that island in the future, we've left it restricted, we've left it semi-mysterious with like what actually happened there. So if the filmmakers in the future ever want to go back there and like explore, they can. But if they don't, then, you know, what we've said is the last thing you'll probably hear about it.
Now, this isn't exactly what the BBC and others believe to have hurt Isla Sorna. However, it was the catalyst for what was written about it behind the scenes in canon. Now, with that being said, Fallen Kingdom is not the only source of Jurassic World material that has mentioned Isla Sorna before in the past, with both the first season of Camp Cretaceous actually showing the island on screen in a canon game that real people were in the universe encouraged to play in order to win a trip to Jurassic World, but also via the subtle hints at various Site B exclusive species that can be seen on screen in 2015's Jurassic World. This includes both male dinosaurs that roam about the Nublar Island, as well as specific variations of animals that are in the Innovation Center, such as the green male tyrannosaurs, and even the JP3 variants of the quilled velociraptors. So far, Jurassic World Dominion has hinted at Site B's mentioning through that mysterious embryo box that I talked about earlier. However, certain foliage and set designs that we've seen with DeWanda Wise and Chris Pratt also have led some fans to speculate that this image that I'm showing now may be an area that's actually on the island itself due to it looking remarkably similar to what was shown off in The Lost World from 1997. We know for certain that the plot of the film will incorporate Biosyn's return, as well as Lewis Dodson, who obviously has known most of InGen's secrets ever since the original movie from 1993. So if Colin Trevorrow, Steven Spielberg, Frank Marshall, and everyone else involved actually want to take the audience back to Site B in some way, shape, or form, it would actually be pretty fitting for the story's end. Now, with that being said though, I have a few very, very specific things that I think the audience deserves to have explained to them in the movie if this idea were to actually work. Mainly due to the fact that in order for such an idea to be pulled off, I believe everything needs to be made super clear to fans in the film's runtime. I've been somewhat apprehensive about the idea of Isla Sorna returning on screen or actually being shown alive and abundant with dinosaurs in the future, mainly due to the fact that I think it could possibly muddy the waters with continuity and the overall timeline of the franchise due to what we know has gone down in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom. If the filmmakers just come out and say that Site B is overrun with a mass amount of animals and everyone knows about it and has always known about it, I personally think that this would render the entire plot of the last film as not working with Dominion's plot like at all. Because if everyone knows that Sorna is this big dinosaur island preserve that all the dinosaurs are still alive on, then why would Isla Nublar be specifically named as, quote, the site with the last living dinosaurs on the planet? That's actually said verbally aloud in the movie. You can't deny that. Of course, you could definitely fix this in the film quite easily by having something of a mystery surrounding Isla Sorna and actually having the characters be somewhat shocked that dinosaurs do still exist on the island. I actually think that if this is the route they wanted to go, it would help tie in The Lost World, Fallen Kingdom, and JP3 in a pretty meaningful way. But if the story decides to not do that and instead just pretend like this is just business as usual and dinosaurs have been running around untouched there and everyone knows about it all over the world, then I think the story would run into some serious problems. Now, one of the things that I've been saying on this channel ever since 2018 is that I don't really think that everything on Isla Sorna had to have died out, because as we learned with The Lost World and really the whole franchise in general, life will find a way, or more accurately, something has survived, as the second film's tagline told us. I still think though that if they want to reintroduce Site B into the film franchise in a meaningful way, you can't just roll up onto the island and pretend like what was thought to be true in Fallen Kingdom is no longer accurate. Because when you disregard the story or what's happened in the story up to that point, then why should anyone in the audience take the new story seriously? We do know for certain that they actually have been teasing Site B for quite a long time now, and even in material that's outside of the real continuity like Jurassic World Evolution and the Lego show, Sorna is mentioned as a place where they've taken dinosaurs off of in order to populate the theme park in the past. And even back as far as the canon book The Evolution of Claire, a female velociraptor from Site B was factually taken off of the island and imported into Jurassic World back in 2004, where it killed a young Claire Deering's boyfriend. So they've definitely been using it here and there in other material, while always staying somewhat mysterious about it in the actual films. I have no doubt in my mind that the decision to bring back Lewis Dodson was planned from a really, really long time ago, and they've been building towards this big epic culmination of dinosaurs in the mainland, all of the old cast meeting the new, and this whole idea of dinosaurs being misused as a final chapter in the entire Jurassic Park series. Site B is being teased here, and if it is in the actual movie as a place with dinosaurs all over it, well, I just feel like in order for everyone to really take it seriously along with all the other movies, you kind of need some little bit of lore to explain what's been going down and why everyone thought Nublar was the only place you could get dinosaurs in the last film. So does this mean that Isla Sorna could make a return in Jurassic World Dominion? Well, with the return of Biosyn and Dodson, I definitely say it's a possibility, but in order for that idea to work, I think the story just needs to support it. Now before I go, I'd like to thank all of my game wardens, as well as all of my InGen executives. I'd also like to thank all of my park workers and InGen hunters as well. Guys, it seriously means the world to me that you all continue to support what I do, and I never want you to ever forget that. Now, I'd like to thank you all for watching today's video, and hope you all enjoyed the content. If you feel like I deserve it, I'd appreciate the like and hope that you'll consider subscribing if you're interested in hearing from me again. I'll see you all in the next video, guys, and as always, take it easy.